The PlayStation Now games have been revealed for September 2020. We have 3 brand new, pretty awesome games coming to the lineup. Let's dive in and take a look at them. Pretty awesome month for PlayStation Now. I've played 3 out of the 4 of the games that Sony are headlining this month with. The only one I haven't seen or heard of before is the game Observation. But the first game that they're headlining PlayStation Now with this month is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. This is a phenomenal game. I guess this is the newest, technically the newest entry in the Resident Evil franchise if you're not including the remakes or anything like that. It's a first person game, the first time the game was in first person, and fully playable with PlayStation VR as well. So if you're wanting that extra level of horror, you can jump in there. The cool thing about this game is that it moves away from the zombie tropes of the previous games and inserts these kind of supernatural elements into the game, but you don't know what those are just yet. You kind of get put in this swamp and there's this creepy family and there's something not right with them. They're strong, they regenerate, things like that. You don't know what's going on. There's some weird mysteries there. The way the family works as well is that they kind of free roam throughout the house. They sort of act like Mr. X did in the new Resident Evil games, and they kind of are persistently there throughout the game. It's a cool concept. You can kind of compare it a little bit to maybe Alien Isolation in terms of how that mechanic works with this persistent enemy that you can't kill just following you, that you need to either attack to stun or avoid entirely as you play through the game. It's a neat game, and honestly, it's probably my favorite Resident Evil game in the entire franchise now. After playing it when it came out, I was hooked, and it was a massive game. It does fall off a little bit at the end, but the overall experience is very solid. Now the game's going to take you around 25 or so hours to platinum. It's not a really long game per se, but you do have to play it through several times to get all the trophies. A single run on the game can take 4 hours, and that's because there's a specific trophy for finishing the game in 4 hours. And if you manage your time correctly, it can be done. I know it's pretty crazy. So generally it's only going to take you maybe like 8 to 10 hours to do your first playthrough of the game as well. There are a bunch of collectible trophies in this game, and then there are 3 specific trophies for finishing the game with kind of different modifiers. You obviously have to play through on normal, easy, and hard, but then there's also a game for finishing the game without opening any item boxes, or only 3 item boxes, which I think are mandatory as you progress, without using first aid kits or med kits or anything like that, except for the ones that are mandatory. And then there's a speedrun trophy as well. It's a really weird trophy list, and honestly it's not that difficult though. I would say it's more like a 4 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. If you've played first person games before, if you know horror games or that genre, you kind of know what you're in for here. Resident Evil generally plays like this as well, where you have to play through the game multiple times, earning upgrades as you go. Every time you earn upgrades as you progress through the game, it gets easier in subsequent playthroughs because you have better guns, more powerful equipment, etc, etc. So that's the first game on PlayStation Now this month. Second game we have is Final Fantasy 15. The base game, I guess. This is like one of the newer Final Fantasy, the newest Final Fantasy game, except for 7 Remake. If you're into the Final Fantasy franchise, I imagine you've already played this one. Trophy-wise, it's an easy trophy list. It's like a 2 or a 3 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, I would say. It's not a very difficult platinum. It is time-consuming though, but that's just because it's a JRPG and they're all time-consuming. Final Fantasy 15 is an open world-ish JRPG, so there's a lot more to do and see in it. The cool thing about this one is it uses I don't know if it's like an active battle system or maybe more of a hack and slash battle system, more similar to Kingdom Hearts, rather than a turn-based battle system. So if you're into more Western RPGs, then this game's probably going to appeal to you a little bit more. Or even if you're into Kingdom Hearts, then this game is going to appeal to you a little bit more than maybe a traditional Final Fantasy game. If you played Final Fantasy 7 earlier this year and you really enjoyed that, and you have PlayStation Now and you haven't tried this one out, I would recommend checking this one out as well. Like I said, trophies aren't too bad either. There's nothing really super difficult in here, and you don't have to play on hard difficulty or anything like that. You can play through the whole game on normal, I believe, and you can get all the trophies from doing that as well. Next up we have WWE 2K19. It's interesting that this has been added to PlayStation Now. I guess it's because we have the new WWE All-Stars game coming out later in the month. It's called All-Stars or called something else, I can't remember, coming out later in the month, and this is like a way for people to be playing this game. Trophy-wise, this is a really difficult platinum trophy. It's about an 8 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, and it's going to take you about 50 or so hours to earn the platinum in this game. But before you get excited about any of that, there is a bunch of online stuff in this game as well, including online trophies. But the servers for this game have already been shut down, and they were shut down earlier in 2020, which means that the platinum is now completely unobtainable. So down here, it's just going to say, don't even bother. If you're after the platinum in this one, just don't. Unless you've already done the online trophies, there is no point. It's actually impossible. So I wouldn't recommend playing this game given the fact that you can't earn the platinum anymore, especially if you're a platinum hunter or something like that. So keep that in mind if you're going to play this one too. Now the last game that's coming out this month is called Observation. I haven't heard of this one before, but it's another Devolver Digital game. They obviously published Fall Guys as well. Based on the trailers, it appears to be a first-person narrative-driven game. It's something that came out on the PlayStation Store towards the end of last year, and I completely missed it if I'm being honest. Probably because it doesn't have a platinum trophy. Yep, it doesn't have a platinum trophy. It's only got 11 trophies in total. It's about a 2 out of 10 to get the 100% in this game. It's probably going to take you around 5 or so hours to earn that 100%, but no platinum trophy and no plat, no buy from me as far as I'm concerned. Developers should know better by now. They need to put platinums in their games. But those are the 4 games that are headlining PlayStation Now this month. If I was going to recommend them, I would say definitely check out Resident Evil 7. It is a phenomenal game. Maybe you've already played it, maybe you haven't platinumed it, so it's a good time for you to go back and do that as well, especially just in time for Resident Evil 8. We've also got Final Fantasy 15, and I think that's a great game too. It wasn't the best Final Fantasy game, but it's a really decent JRPG if you're into that kind of franchise, Kingdom Hearts, even Final Fantasy 7 style, then I would recommend checking that out too. Those are the 2 from me. The other 2, I could take them or leave them if that makes sense. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know which ones of these you're going to be playing in the comments section down below. Curious to get your thoughts as always. And thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.